Let's take a look at what is available with the policies feature in our management option of Forms Boss. You'll notice on your customer screen that you have a policies tab here at the bottom if you have purchased the management option. And from that policies tab, you can add a new policy. It will pull up your policy form, and you'll notice that it has already entered the customer's information here for you. If you needed to change any of that information, you would need to go back to the customer screen to do that. You've got a checkbox here where you can label this policy as inactive if you need to. You can enter the billing type. You would select a policy type from your pull-down list here, or if you needed to add a different policy type, you would just click Edit here. And you can manage your list of policy types there. I'm just going to go back here and select one that's already entered. You also need to have a company selected. If you needed to add a new company, you would select Edit here. There is a separate video tutorial about companies, so I'm not going to go into that right now. I'm just going to select one. There is also another video tutorial about sales reps, so I'm just going to select one for now. But if you needed to add another one, you would just click Edit there. You can enter your policy number for this policy right here. Your issue date would automatically come up with today's date when you select in that box, but you can change the issue date by just clicking on a different date here, or you can actually type in a date for these date fields as well. Once you've entered your information at the top of the screen, be sure to click Save Policy, and then you can come down here to the bottom and you're welcome to add any forms that you might need to include with this policy. I'm going to go ahead and show you how that works here. Let's add a form for this policy. You can search for a form by the number or the words in the title there, and you'll find your form in your list and add an optional form description. You'll notice when it opens up the form that it will automatically put the policy number here in the top right hand corner and in the form itself if there is a place for it. And it will put today's date as the date entered. You can change that if you need to there. And you'd be able to fill out this form on screen, make any changes you needed to here, and when you'd finish entering your data, you would click Save. And then you can close out of the browser window. And you'll see that it has added that form here to the list on our policy form. And you'd be able to control your forms list here with all these buttons in the same way that you do the ones on the customer screen. There is a separate video tutorial just about forms that shows you what all those buttons do. Your transactions tab here is where you'll keep track of a lot of the information about your policy. So let's take a look at adding a transaction for this policy. It will come up with your premiums commissions tab under the transaction, and again it will have today's date. I'm going to just select a different date. You can select your pay type here, which is how many times a year they'll be paying, and your commission type from the pull down list here. You can put in some percentages here as needed. I'm just going to put some numbers in just to show you kind of how it keeps track of this data. You can put in your premium amount. A deposit amount, policy fee, miscellaneous fees, And you'll notice as I'm adding those in that it's calculating my annual premium as well as the agency commission and including the deposit all here for me based on the pay type and the numbers entered there. You can put in your salesman percentage and your broker's percentage here as well. And when you're finished with the information on the commissions premiums tab, you'll come over here to the payments due tab and you'll select which months the payments are due for this policy. And then you also have a notes tab here where you can enter any notes that you want to keep track of for this policy. And you'll see that it has added that transaction here to the list on the policy form. And you can edit it if you need to, or add another transaction, delete transactions as needed. Let's take a look at the claims tab. If you needed to add a claim to this policy, this is how you would do that. And you'll see there that it added the claim that I had entered, and you can add more claims as needed, delete, or edit. Any invoices that had this same policy number on them would be listed here in your invoice tab. There is a separate tutorial about invoicing, so I won't go into too much detail about that here, but all of the invoices attached to this policy would be listed there. There is also another video tutorial that shows you how this links tab works. So you would be able to add any links that you needed to for this policy, any websites right here into the policy. So once you have finished adding in all of your data for this policy, you'll want to be sure to click Save Policy. I'll draw your attention to the other buttons here at the top of the screen. This Refresh Record button would just allow you to have access to any data that might have been entered on a different computer. It would just update you to the latest data saved from various workstations. Delete policy is self-explanatory there. Let me show you what happens with this print policy button. Here it pulls up a printable version of the information from this policy for you. If you wanted to print that or save it somewhere on your computer, you would be welcome to keep track of that in various forms. So that just gives you a look at what it looks like when you print your policy. If you needed to find a policy, you would just click here. You can search by expiration date, policy type, or policy number, or you can just click this Find All button, and it will pull up all of the policies that you have under this customer's record. I only have 2 under this customer, but if I wanted to look at the other one, I could just select it and click OK. And it will pull up this other policy for the same customer listed here. So that gives you an idea of what the policy form in our Forms Boss software will do.